Welcome to BCN's Beyond the Network podcast. Today I'm excited to be here with Ben Edmond, CEO and founder of Connectbase, here in their headquarters, right in my home state of Massachusetts. Welcome, Ben.
Welcome. Thank you for joining me at the world headquarters of Connectbase.
It's very exciting to be here.
I appreciate it.
And I would be absolutely remiss if I did not start off our discussion by congratulating you on your recognition as a top 50 data tech entrepreneur.
Thank you. I was excited to see that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just saw that yesterday on LinkedIn.
The data nerd in me loves that.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
How exciting is that?
It is. It's very exciting. It's, I appreciate the opportunity to get here.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful. Well, you certainly deserve it from
Thank
everything we've seen and heard and listened to all of the things you talk about. And honestly, it's no secret that BCN is such a huge fan of Connectbase and the way you're transforming the world of connectivity. Honestly, I would say you had us at location truth.
It's so important for how we operate.
Tell me about that. Why is that such an important term, and how does it drive what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, really, it's the genesis for how I started this company. Location truth, I believe, gets at the heart of how connectivity actually works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's people talk about the cloud, people talk about devices, but at the end of the day, we're connecting things together to sites, to locations, and our industry hasn't always got that right. It's been a messy, underappreciated aspect of what you have to manage to deliver excellence.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're buying, whether you're selling, whether you're supporting, ultimately getting the location right, to me, for this industry, is like sending the ambulance to the right location.
Excellent.
Like, we
Good
need
point.
to be accurate in it. And the tools to do that just weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So, Connectbase started a journey to do exactly that. So unit economics are understood, demands understood, supplies understood. That context of making a decision is most accurate when you understand where a location is and you have all the context in one place.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important for a managed technology solutions provider like BCN that sells exclusively through the channel. I always say to people, the room you don't want to be in is the one where you tell a partner that you can't deliver the service they just sold the customer because you thought it was serviceable there.
You break trust. The life cycle that you're building with the partner and your customers, and we want to make sure that trust is maintained and grown, and we think good things happen when you have that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And I noticed that you have a really big presence on LinkedIn. So we feel the power of LinkedIn very strongly at BCN. We use that almost exclusively as our social channel. And we love reading the things that you write, a lot of thought leadership. Yeah, 2 recent posts I really liked. One was from Kazakhstan to your table, and the other
on the Apple.
On the Apple, and the other one was about entrepreneurial leadership.
Yeah.
So I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit more about the first one and how you came up with that thought and how that really became such a great post.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought about it from the context of how do I share a metaphor that applies to the impact connectivity has on a global ecosystem this far, and the things that we do when we travel that journey together and plant these seeds of data centers, computes, fiber, but interconnect them along the way to deliver the experiences that are literally changing our world. And tried to bring it back to something everyone knows that's interesting and tangential. I mean, apples, who would have thought? They came from Kazakhstan in the mountains, and because of trade at that time, which was the Silk Road, traveled to different places and eventually wound up all over the world. Well, today's trade is digital, and that digital trade happens on the highways of fiber optics and data centers around the world, and is literally in every household, changing the way. And that wasn't always the case. 20 years ago,
So true.
We didn't have the iPhone. 30 years ago, people didn't know what the internet was.
Right.
Like, this is all happening really, really fast, but it's happening faster and just trying to bring it back to real world. Like the power of it is very impactful for our society, and we should be proud as an industry that we're making these changes out there.
Absolutely. So interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting.
It's fun.
Tell me about the entrepreneurial leadership. And in that post, you talked about the fact that you've just celebrated your 9th year in business.
Ninth year of live with Connectbase.
9th year of live
or
with
Connected
Connectbase.
World, our platform.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the company in October 1st of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
So quit my job, decided I wanted to impact the industry rather than just company. And 6 months later, we had our first product to the market, which was the Connected World and Building List Manager. It was sold to fiber providers like First Light and Fiber Light and Altice and different companies at the time, but to help them get out of spreadsheets, to help them get certainty on location, and then communicate that to their partners.
Right. And I think that the communicating of that data to the partners is what's really been so transformative
Absolutely.
for the industry. The ability to have that flow of data so quickly, so easily, so accurately has really made a big difference for us, and I know for all of the customers, whether they're on the sell side or the buy side, or both sides as we are
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
It's been remarkable. It's sped our time to deliver quotes and proposals, which makes it easier for our partners to respond to customer requests. And the more, as you said, you
Yep.
can build trust that that's what's going to happen, the more and more you get those opportunities.
And they end up closing more business. The partners actually close more when it happens to be better information delivered faster to empower them to do what they do.
Right, exactly. When you talk about the ecosystem, that's a word that you use all the time, attending the events and listening to speak and listening to others speak, that comes up over and over again. And the thing that strikes me is you have so many companies in that ecosystem. Strategic partnerships, so much collaboration happening. How did you ever begin to build that? What was the secret to getting people to cooperate and collaborate?
Trust. I mean, I think it boils down to the same reason why we go back to let's build location truth. Today we have 417 providers in our platform and ecosystem, and 10, 20 years ago that wasn't possible. But through a lot of grit and energy, but also building of trust by demonstrating, hey, here's the controls, here's the transparency, here's the flow that you can decide how and what between partners, because it's about you. Mm-hmm. It's not about us capturing information and keeping it in a closed vault for our benefit. Mm-hmm. It's about how do we elevate this industry so you can elevate each other and do more business together as buyer and seller. Mm-hmm. And transparently, helping both sides as a neutral ecosystem facilitator has been all the difference in the world.
I think that's key.
And
the neutrality that your team shows. Also the way you have been able to bring companies like ours on the buy side together with the seller side. I mean, we have great relationships and great contacts at all of the major providers, as you know. But having those providers working closely with your team and us working closely with your team, we come together, these three pieces of the puzzle, and issues get solved more quickly,
Absolutely.
Advancements get made more quickly. It's unbelievable.
We can focus on innovating and helping elevate customer experience and growth, which is frankly a desire on all parties. So having that neutrality, having that trust, recognizing, hey, on both sides, they're not the most resource-rich organizations within the silos of providers. So sometimes we have to, at Connectbase, we have to build the tools that don't exist to help them get to that facilitation.
Interesting.
And that was important because there might be a store of location data inside of a provider, as an example, but it might be oriented around a network engineer's use case for one particular flow. Mm-hmm. And very hard to pivot that use case in the application to selling or buying. Mm-hmm. And so when we recognized that, we started building, and we built 16 applications to date. because of that feedback loop around how do we help, build this trust and build the flow across an ecosystem.
Right. And I'm honored to be a member of your advisory council.
Yes.
And in
I
those
appreciate
meetings, I see that collaboration, whether, nobody's afraid to bring up a topic.
No, nor
Whether
should they.
it's good or bad,
Yep.
right? We want to talk about what's going really well. We want to talk about the things that could go better.
Yeah.
And your team is so receptive to that feedback and acts on that feedback so beautifully together with the providers, whether it's the sellers, the buyers, or
Yeah.
both organizations. So I think that's critical as well.
Cultivating a care factor is not a simple thing in any business,
Mhm.
and BCN demonstrates this in your own company, as you guys know, and believe in culture as a big part of your DNA. We've tried to do the same thing, like having a care factor for our customers getting to success
Mhm.
is what drives people like Mike Berman and Marianne and Heidi and all these different wonderful
And
people.
my favorite, Melissa.
Melissa's wonderful, and
Melissa
she
Frank.
cares.
Yes, she does.
So-
She truly cares.
And that's not something you can just teach. That's something inside who they are,
Mhm.
and we have a fantastic team full of those people.
Yeah, and it's amazing because you've done several acquisitions
We have
since we first started working with you. You've grown the company to how many employees now?
about 150.
Tremendous.
Thank you.
And yet that culture remains evident and in place.
Yeah.
So you've really done a great job, whether it was in sourcing where you were going to acquire and really looking not just at what you were acquiring in terms of technology, but people.
Yeah.
Right? Because the technology can be great, the people could be not great, and is that going to work?
People matter.
Is that going to work inside your company?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And we've tried to be very thoughtful in that approach. But for a relatively small company that's only started up 9.5 years ago,
Right.
To have acquired 3 different businesses and grown as much as we can, a lot of it is around focusing on how do we cultivate that culture.
Right.
Because it's not me going in and making sure every single thing is done. It's how do you have a team that wants to do that and understands how to do that
Right.
and cares about the outcome.
And can be self-motivated
Yeah.
to achieve those objectives without somebody watching over them going, you should do it
And our
this way,
customers
right?
need that.
Yeah.
Like, this is a complicated, hard industry,
It is.
but it's a wonderful industry because it changes companies and people's outcomes in a very positive way. And having a team that helps navigate through those challenges and helps achieve the outcomes it's an important part of the recipe. It's not just, hey, let's build location truth and have great tech. How do we put people side by side, our partners, to build an ecosystem?
That's interesting. I never really thought about it that way, but when you think about Connectbase, you're absolutely right. The connections are not just about connecting technology, it's about the connecting of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was thinking about when I asked that question about how you foster such collaboration. So that's a nice dual meaning
Yeah.
to your name.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what's happening in the next 5 years? What do you see? What's
Oh,
next
so
for
much.
you?
I think we're going to see more change in this industry
Mhm.
in the next 5 years than at any point in the previous 28 years that I've participated.
Really?
I think, fundamentally, the world's going through a lot of change.
Mhm.
On the technology side, this thing called AI is a real thing.
Mhm.
Whether you're an AI company or you just use AI to change how you operate, change how you message, change how you communicate,
Mhm.
I believe that change is real in that front. I think the amount of infrastructure being invested in right now and the capital doing so creates an opportunity to do more for more people
Absolutely.
over the next 5 years than
Absolutely.
ever before.
Yeah. It's interesting. We see when we talk to our technology advisors or partners and we talk about where is the real opportunity, it's still in the bandwidth.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's still at the heart of everything, and it's not your grandmother's bandwidth.
No.
Right? It's unbreakable,
Yeah.
secure. They want it all. And how are we going to deliver that together? And I think that's the most important thing, is to recognize that connectivity is always going to be king, because that's where it starts. And that's where the layering
delivery
begins.
engine for everything.
Right.
And secure, to your point, it's like
Mhm.
that's a critical part of the world today. So having the right bandwidth that's secure so you can enable the applications and the services and the solutions over the top is fundamentally how business is now done.
Right. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. So, I know it's a few months away,
Yes.
but I'm very excited, and there's already a lot of buzz about the Connected World Live event in September.
It's going to be
And
fantastic.
Fantastic. And a new venue. You're moving out of
It's
Massachusetts.
a big move.
It's a big move.
Yes.
It's a big move. Go west, young man.
Yes,
Right?
Chicago, downtown Chicago at the Marriott Marquis.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fantastic. September 2nd through the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And just like last year, I loved last year. There'll be energy, there'll be ecosystem collaboration. It's not a traditional trade show where you just go and have a bunch of meetings,
Right.
or it is learning and collaborating and doing business together with buyers, sellers, and partners all in the same room, for almost 2.5, 3 days.
Yes.
And getting a lot out of it.
We do. We get
Yeah.
a tremendous amount out of it, so we're really looking forward
I'm
to
very
that.
proud of it.
Yes, you should be.
Yeah,
You're a
we
really
are.
good team. So before I let you go and get back to connecting the world, I know you love to tell us things that we don't know about Connectbase.
Yeah.
Right? You have a nice series of Did You Know? So is there
Appreciate
one Did You Know that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, I think one that I want to reference is really that most people probably still don't know about us, is that we have a data center inventory capability at Connectbase. And the world of data centers is a very wide spectrum, from big, huge hyperscaler data centers to I'm buying this cabinet or cage and managing that.
Mm-hmm.
But just like location truth, if you don't get to inventory truth, you wind up with inefficiencies in the business on all sides. Our inventory tool has a 3D visualization capability, goes through things like cross connects and circuits, so you understand exactly what you have, where you have it inside the four walls of any data center,
Interesting.
and allows for APIs to flow that information in and out. So as you're making decisions, you're managing truth, and you can go in and leverage those assets that you have or capabilities you have,
Mhm.
or optimize them over time.
That's great. So will we be hearing more about that
You
at
will,
the Connected
absolutely.
World
We
Live?
will be sharing and showing how, in a world that's moving to network as a service,
Yes.
you need your inventory connected to make real-time decisions right there. So
Great.
one of the core reasons why we have an inventory capability.
Great. Well, this was wonderful. I really appreciate the opportunity to come here and meet with you at your world headquarters.
It's my pleasure.
And until we meet again, which is probably in Las Vegas
I look forward
or
to
at
it.
ITW in May, where all conversations eventually lead to Connectbase, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having me.
And special thanks to all of you for watching this episode of BCN's Beyond the Network podcast with Ben Edmond, CEO and founder of Connectbase. I hope you'll stay tuned for future episodes. To see this episode and others, visit our website at www.bcntele.com.